It's obvious we cannot arrest our way out of this problem.
You're wrong. I, for one, am tired of kids being shot, minorities being ignored in the inner cities, and I'm tired of the virtue signaling of these Democrats who don't know what the hell they're talking about with their social justice nonsense. Crime is crime, and it will never change. It's time for America to get back to law and order so that we can live the life that we were promised, one of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. America as we know it is coming to an end. We are watching it in real time. It is moving so quickly that when it's gone, we won't be able to predict the exact moment it happened. What I fought for in law enforcement for over 3 decades, what my father and grandfather fought for in World War II, what you and your parents and grandparents fought for is ending. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? How many of us would describe life today as being what our founding fathers intended? If we don't speak in politically correct terms, we are canceled. We lose our jobs. Erased. They did it to a president of the United States. Big tech decides what we can read and what we can post with no regulation or government interference. Our kids are taught in school that the color of their skin determines whether they are victims or oppressors. I could go on, but one thing, more than any other, that signals the ruination of a society and trumps all else is crime. When crime is not prosecuted, when criminals are not arrested, lawlessness, anarchy, and chaos result. Dominoes continue to fall, and we witness the crippling effect of crime. You see, crime not only harms the victim, it visits the loved ones, family, friends, neighbors, and the community at large. Fear becomes generalized. It immobilizes people. On the other hand, criminals are emboldened to continue their rampage. Businesses cannot prosper where crime is rampant. Families are not safe where crime is raging. Schools close, churches merge, hospitals fail, people become depressed and dependent. But don't be fooled. This isn't just a few malcontents like the Squad. What we're experiencing is part of a massive plan orchestrated by culture haters, American-hating, power-hungry individuals who despise America, democracy, capitalism, and everything that we hold dear. Right now, they're winning. Respect for the rule of law is gone in most Democrat-run big cities, and as a result, there is chaos and crime. Criminals believe they're entitled to take whatever they need from stores. They're not afraid of the police who've been defunded and hamstrung without the ability to enforce the law, and certainly not the backup if they do. Take a look at TJ Maxx this week. Criminals loading up and walking out, not even running. And even if there were police to arrest them, prosecutors in California are not handling cases of less than $950. The result? Criminals reoffend without fear of prosecution. All of this began with a harebrained idea of bail reform. This week, after shots were fired in our nation's capital, only days after shots rang out at a baseball game in Washington, D.C., Washington sounded like a war zone. It sounded like Beirut. Comically, Democrat Mayor Muriel Bowser stands with the police chief, promising to prosecute the shooters to the fullest extent of the law.
I'm outraged, the chief is outraged, and the community should be outraged. What we saw tonight, and unfortunately what we saw over the last several days, is an illegal firearm brazenly used on DC streets.
Wait a minute. This woman marched with thousands demanding that police be defunded. And now the murder rate in Washington, D.C. is the highest it's been in 15 years. Democrat Illinois State Attorney Kim Foxx's clearance stats on murders and gun crimes are pathetic as Chicago continues to be the shooting capital of America. Last week, 61 people shot. And Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago, who won't answer questions from any white reporter, blames the courts, saying they are closed. Folks, the courts are not closed in Chicago. Even the state's attorney, Kim Foxx, says they're open, but now Kim Foxx says she's willing to drop all the nonviolent crimes, that means economic crimes, folks, to catch up. And this week, the office of Missouri Democrat prosecutor Kim Gardner missed a court date, and a murderer was released. One of 3 murderers released in St. Louis because of the incompetence of this prosecutor. And in New York City, Democrat Mayor Bill de Blasio, who has defunded the police and defaced our streets as part of his social justice mission, has turned the safest big city in America to one of the most violent. Folks, you reap what you sow. If you hate the police, you defund the police, you put a target on their backs, the message to criminals is clear. There are no consequences. But it's not like we haven't been here before. The 70s in New York City were horrific. Crime was rampant. Criminals had no fear. It took a prosecutor to strategize with police commissioners to engage in smart policing, to identify crime areas and penetrate those areas with law enforcement. They implemented the broken windows policy, the low-level crimes which very often signal the start of a criminal career, and they made the criminal accountable. Those men? Rudy Giuliani, Bill Bratton, Ray Kelly. And it can be done again. We need to bring in politicians who believe in law and order, who will change this so-called bail reform nonsense if we have the will and the determination to ignore the noisy minority who believe that criminals have the right to take what they want, who believe that burning down businesses and defacing our streets is legitimate social justice, when in truth, it's arson, theft, trespass, mischief, and often assault and murder. If we have the will and the determination, we can tune them out and vote them out, especially people who say arrests won't make a difference.
It's obvious we cannot arrest our way out of this problem.
You're wrong. We need to put in prosecutors who not only believe in law and order, but actually know how to try a case and know how to run a DA's office. Legislators who believe in the reimplementation of bail, and judges who give a darn about the victim. And then we can get America back on track again. I, for one, am tired of kids being shot, minorities being ignored in the inner cities, and I'm tired of the virtue signaling of these Democrats who don't know what the hell they're talking about with their social justice nonsense. Crime is crime, and it will never change. It's time for America to get back to law and order so that we can live the life that we were promised, one of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.